Adam here from the Walzer Automotive Group, and what I want to do today is take you on a test drive. So next to me here, I have a 2026 Buick Envision. We'll look at the interior, exterior, some of the updates for 26, and go for a spin around, see what it's like out on the road. All right, so now we're behind the wheel of the 2026 Buick Envision, and this is the ST trim level. So there's going to be a few different trim levels. You can go all the way up to the fully loaded Avenir if you want, but I think the ST is kind of a sweet spot in the lineup. Now, before we get too much into the weeds talking about the equipment, some of the other stuff, changes for 2026 were pretty mild from the 25 model. 2024 was the big update and change with all the design language outside, but really all the main changes came in 26 in way of colors. They added a few different ones, took a couple away, so for the most part it's going to be the same inside, but if you're thinking about these Buick Envisions, there's a lot to like here. So for now, let's put it in drive, we'll go for a spin around. Let's begin with what powers these Buick Envisions. Now, it's just one engine option. It's a 2-liter turbocharged engine with a 9-speed automatic. Now, it's going to give you right around 228 horsepower, which doesn't seem like a lot, but with the turbocharger, you get that instant kind of torque or boost off the line. It's actually kind of a fun vehicle to drive. Now, you can manually shift through the gears if you want. There's a little M button on the steering wheel here. So if you're feeling a little sporty, that's probably why you're getting the ST model, also because it looks pretty cool, but you can have a little bit of fun when you're cruising around. Now, as far as the trim levels are concerned, there's going to be the 3 main trim levels. We have our Preferred, which is going to be kind of the base trim, and then you have your Sport Touring, and then, like I said, that Avenir, which is going to be the top tier trim level. So that one gives you all of the goodies, but this particular ST does have a couple little packages added into it. This has the comfort and convenience package as well. Up above, we get the panoramic moonroof, which I think is going to be one of those option boxes you might want to check. But the comfort and convenience gives you some pretty good stuff, especially when it's as cold as it is today. Now, we're up here in the Midwest. It's only about 9 degrees this morning when I started. So this actually comes standard with the remote start on the key fob. So you can actually click, fire the vehicle up before you get there. I think it'll run for about 10 minutes. But what's great is it was actually auto turn on the heated steering wheel and the heated seats in the vehicle. It's windy, it's cold. I think with the wind chill, it's like -11 today. So when you hop into the vehicle and everything is nice and warm for you, that is such a game changer. Then on the other end, when it gets really warm back out in those Minnesota summers, having the remote start just to cool it down is also pretty cool. Now, what about the ride and drive? So this little 2-liter, like I said, when you put your foot down, you get that little instant boost and you actually can hear the little turbocharger. It's pretty cool. And that 9-speed automatic is so smooth on the road. GMC and Buick have done such a great job with their transmissions as of late. It just makes for such a great driving experience. Really, on a day like today when it's super windy and cold, you'd think you would get a ton of road noise or cabin noise in here, but this insulation inside the Buick is incredible. It's so good. There's a bunch of slush. Obviously, we got some snow overnight. So having this comfortable ride and drive, it's pretty impressive, and really, to me, seems like in its class, for what you're paying for this, you would expect it to be even more expensive than maybe what it is. You could be competing with things like Audi, BMW, or the Porsche. All these little cool SUVs are so much fun to drive, yet they do sometimes carry a pretty high sticker price. Now, the MSRP, even with the added color in this brilliant red, the added packages and all this stuff, MSRP on this one's going to be right around $43,000. So if you're looking at a German SUV, $43,000 I don't even think would get you in the door. Yet this one gives you some pretty awesome equipment. Now, on the outside, the ST will look a little bit different than the other trim levels. You have that blacked out front grille with the ST badging, so it also gets these really cool black 20-inch wheels. It really kind of sets the design off nicely. It's almost like a twisted 5-spoke, but it looks good. You get the black mirror caps, you get the roof rack rails up above as well. So where I was filming at the ski hill this morning, you'd be able to put the roof box up above, put the skis, snowboards in there, even go away for a long weekend, as this is pretty efficient and there's a lot of space in here. Not only does this thing get 28 miles per gallon on the highway, but there's a surprising amount of room. So this one will get a power liftgate out back, so you can click the button, that will kick it open for you back there. It just makes it really easy to load stuff up. When you can walk to the vehicle and you're kind of doing that hands-free power liftgate, whether you're going to the grocery store, like I said, on the ski trip, it's really nice to have those little features in these vehicles. Then if you definitely need extra space and you're not hauling people with you, there is a 60-40 split rear seat. So that means you can kick the seats down basically flat in that second row, and it gives you quite a bit of hauling space. Maybe you ended up at IKEA buying something you weren't planning on, needing that little bit of extra room. This little Envision is surprising just how much space space there is. But if you do need even more space, you can go up to the Enclave, or if you want to shrink it down a little more, they even have the Vista. So maybe you can kind of hear underneath the wheels and tires, it's like that crunching in the snow because it is so cold today. But these seats are so comfortable. It is giving me that added confidence to go out and tackle these Minnesota winters. It's a 3-level heated seat. It's kind of a leatherette material in here. It's really comfortable. My seat is going to be power with lumbar, and then I get a leather wrapped heated steering wheel. Like I said, when you fire up the remote start and you get the heated seats and the heated steering wheel going, it is such a great way to try and tackle these Minnesota winters. Now, one of the craziest things in here is the 30-inch display. So really, it's kind of like 2 different displays. On the one side, I have my wireless Apple CarPlay as well. You can do Android Auto in there. You can pair your phone up in about a minute, and then you get text messaging, Google Maps, Spotify. It's all built into there. It makes it so easy when you're on the move. And it really kind of keeps you away from messing with your phone. But then there's also some other pretty cool stuff in there. If you're an Amazon Alexa user, you can program that up with your account, or Google Assistant. So I can click and say, Walser Buick GMC Roseville. It will give me directions not only on the infotainment screen, but you can also do it on the other side with the digital gauge cluster. So there's a handful of different menus you can look at on that side, whether you just want to pull up the maps to see where you're going, or some of your safety stuff. So this Buick Envision does come with quite a bit of safety. You're going to have the things you'd expect, like blind spot monitoring in the mirrors or a cruise control system, but this actually gets an adaptive cruise control. So what's cool about that, like I said, maybe you're running to the cabin or just running around town doing a lot of highway driving. You can kind of set that 3-2-1 car length distance to the vehicle ahead of you, keeps that distance on the road, and it's also got like emergency braking and a whole bunch of other really cool stuff. But if you don't like something, you can just go into the menu, click it, shut it off. It's as easy as that. But it's really not intrusive. When I've been driving around this morning, I haven't really got any notifications on the dash, hasn't really been beeping at me. It's just stuff that you can use day to day, and that makes your life a little bit easier. Now, you also are going to have USB-C and wireless charging down here for your phone with a little cubby, so you can click to kind of close that away if you don't want to be messing with your phone, and then just the volume control knob down here, and then your cup holder space. But underneath that, there's a little bit of added storage. So whether you got your purse or anything else you want to keep in the car, there's plenty of little cubbies in here where you can kind of keep stuff out of sight. So this seat, again, is also going to be memory on my side. Like I said, I do have the lumbar control, but it was easy to get really comfortable in here. Like I said, the cabin is so quiet and well insulated. It really does seem like a lot of car for the money. At $43,000, the average new car price right now in the US is over $50,000. This doesn't feel like I'm getting a sub-average amount of equipment in here. I'm getting the CarPlay, heated seats, heated steering wheel, panoramic sunroof, the excellent exterior styling. I mean, if you're driving an older SUV and you want something that kind of gives you that German luxury SUV comfort and style, but you don't really want to spend all the money, or maybe go into a used one if you're worried about unreliability, these are pretty awesome. Plus, when you shop with Walser, we offer an 8-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. That means you can be on the road for almost the next decade, and you're not really thinking about anything except for your scheduled maintenance. So one other thing I noticed on the road is visibility is actually really good in here. Sometimes with these little crossover SUVs, you lose basically the entire back of the vehicle just because of the roof lines or how it slopes down. But the back window is actually pretty big, and the side mirrors actually seem really large as well. So like I said, it does have the blind spot monitoring in there, but just when you look around, you can see out of the back window. The pillars aren't so large. There's even like a smaller little window down here. It just makes visibility and driving around day to day pretty easy. But I think for the most part, if it's you in the car by yourself, 95% of the time you're just buzzing around, you want something to get to work, get to the gym, grocery store, whatever you might be doing, there's a lot to like here with the Envision. If you don't want to go down to like a subcompact SUV, you don't want something that's going to give you all the third row comfort and use that, and you don't need something that's going to give you like the third row, I think the Envision's a pretty great sweet spot. I mean, this thing's easy to park, not to mention it has a full 360 camera in here, and you can pretty much pull that up at any time. So when you're parked or moving slow, you can click the little button. I can see the crosswalk. There's like a plow truck next to me, so I can't quite see around it. But when I pull up the camera, being that it's at the front of the vehicle, it makes it nice because you can kind of see around that. And if you're driving like downtown, or you're trying to see if the kids left some stuff in the driveway, just being able to click up the camera before you even put it in reverse is pretty cool. But then when you do have it in reverse, it also has parking sensors, so that can help you out as well. Now, one other kind of funny feature in here is the ambient lighting. Now, some of these manufacturers are doing this nowadays. It sounds gimmicky, but it's actually kind of cool. So you can go into the ambient lighting setting here, and when I pick that, you can pretty much change to any color you want on the inside. I know it seems like, why would I do that? But then when you set it and you have it, it's actually kind of fun. You can pick different colors. If you're in a different mood, you can maybe set it to that. But I just think having those little custom touches that you could do in the vehicle day to day, not to mention the Bose sound system in here, is crazy good. That alone might be worth the upgrade if you're thinking about going from the Preferred up to the ST or the Avenir. It's pretty good. If you're listening to podcasts or music and you're jamming when you're cruising around, that is definitely something you're going to want to consider. So the other thing we didn't even talk about is the all-wheel drive. So this actually has different selectable modes you can go through, and the all-wheel drive for tackling the Minnesota winters is pretty awesome. So I can set it, so I've been in two-wheel drive most of today. So that means I'm still getting the best possible mileage, yet if I need the all-wheel drive, it starts snowing, it's coming down, you can switch over the drive mode. That is pretty cool. It just gives you that added peace of mind that you can really tackle these Minnesota winters. So, like I said, there's a lot to like here. If you're looking for an awesome daily driver or even room in the back, this is going to have USB and USB-C charging with vents in the back. Plus, you could put 4 adults in here very comfortable, go on date night, or you can even put the car seats in the back, and they're going to have plenty of room. And even as the kids grow, they will have space and plenty of headroom back there. With that panoramic sunroof, definitely opens it up in here. I mean, the feature list, you can tell it goes on and on and on. You could spend an hour talking about some of the safety or the technology or some of the cool stuff in here. Even like the air circulation system. It can show you like the different levels or different air quality in the car. There's a lot of pretty cool stuff in here. So I think there's a lot to like here. Between the style, the looks, the technology, I mean, there's so much good stuff with these Buicks. I love the comfort and ride and drive. It's just such a great place to be day to day. So I think if you're in the market for a crossover SUV and you were thinking about the Buick Envision, it's definitely one to add to the list. Come out, take for a spin, and see what you think. Now that was just a quick look and drive at the 2026 Envision. Now if you have any other questions or you'd like to schedule a test drive, you can visit us online at walser.com or stop by anytime. We'd be more than happy to help. Thanks again for watching.